Hello, this is Joe from LaxPlayBook.com. Today we're doing the man down clear, courtesy of Gary Pottenbaum. Gary, did I say that correct?
Close enough.
I don't want to ruin
Potterbaum.
your name. Pottenbaum. Okay, so I
Potterbaum.
got
Close enough.
Gary and Jimmy Oliver here, and I'm glad you got the presentation on the man down clear because I am guilty of the inevitable hawk, throw it up the field, throw it up the field. And so you're going to show me something different, or is this going to be a 10-second presentation on how to throw it up the field?
Nah, this is definitely something different. A- as we did in the last webinar, I'm very much a believer in using the box to your advantage as much as possible, especially with the rules where it's trickled down to the high school level that we've got the 20-yard box now instead of the 10-yard box. So it's a real simple. What I tell my guys is 2 off, 2 over, 2 on. Um, and and we'll walk through that in the build here in the PowerPoint. But it's really simple, and it's a deceptive but straight up way to use the box, because we all know that we're going to have the officials that say you're using the box in a deceptive fashion. But as long as we're straight subbing, it's not deceptive. So it's not. This is a part of the game that I feel like a lot of coaches kind of overlook. It's a finer part of the game, and let's be honest, most of us are just hoping that our guy can catch a ball in traffic and get a shot off. So, the really kind of the key thing to this is that these two guys here are the guys here in the top are kind of your ball handling midfielders, that they're not attackmen. So, as we build through this here quickly, we'll see that we're going to start with immediately following a shot. Usually your LSM and your crease long stick are going to bail off the field here, as we saw, okay? So we see that, and everybody else is going to kind of spread. So again, like the last week, it's going to kind of be a slow build. The next step is, as soon as the 2 long sticks leave the field, the 2 attack, which are probably stud midfielders, they're going to cross over. And as 2 more are subbing on to the attack for the guys that crossed. So as we watch, you're going to see these 2 guys kind of go off rather. These 2 guys are going to come over. And then you see the guys in the box loaded up, ready. They're going to come on. So here we go. 2 off, 2 over. And you can't be offsides when you're subbing, so 2 on. So
does it matter which 2 guys go over? Or does it matter just
no,
the 2 outside guys? Or
I mean, that can be up to you, and you can change it every time. And I'd suggest changing it every time, because you're gonna have coaches that are gonna be good and they're gonna adapt to it pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So, kind of like the box play that I ran last week, which I'll be happy to share with you, Jimmy. The goalie's going to make this pass from here to this box guy, or he's going to hit one of the streaking middies. All right, but you're going to have a relatively, a pretty easy 30-yard pass to a midi, or you're going to have, so you could slow break from there. And as you see, we move the. I don't know why the ball didn't move by, because I probably did a crappy job of the animation. But then we have a couple of different slow break or fast break options. So we're playing from the beginning. So it's just real simple. Just to answer your question, Jimmy, it doesn't matter who. I generally, to make it easy for my coaches, I say your LSM and a pull on the crease, but it's your 2 closest pulls to the box. All right?
Right.
It's your 2 closest pulls to the box. Or it could be a D-mid and a pull to the box, especially if it's, everybody's got that stud D-mid that's like just a really good athlete, but he can't pick up a ground ball. Yeah, it could be that guy too. Get him off the field, especially in a situation like that. You don't want to have that one Achilles heel out there when you're playing 6 on 5, 5 guys on offense. So it's 2 guys off, 2 guys off, 2 guys over. I don't know why the animation's lagging, and then 2 guys on. The one thing I want to, especially,
Do you find timing's an issue?
No.
Because I'm thinking I'm thinking a goalie makes a save, right? Immediately, everybody get a guy, and they're going after my goalie.
Right.
And
but how many attackmen are taught to match feet?
Right. Well, I'm more worried about the goalie being under pressure to kind of get rid of the ball fast enough.
4 seconds to get out the back. So you figure, all right, so let's go. 1001, he's made the save. 1002, the guy's here. 1003, the guy's here. 1004, the guy's, and he can make the pass to either the 2 guys streaking or this guy here, depending on how quick these guys can get off the field. And now with the box being here, I've never really fixed the PowerPoint to account for the wider box. With the box being here, guys can get off in about 3.3.
Yeah.
So
Now,
I
if
get
this
what you're
clear
saying.
breaks down, are you going to have 3 shorties and 2 long poles playing man down?
Possibly.
So that is the
Possibly.
calculated risk, I guess you'd say, right?
Yeah, and I mean, just like in anything in lacrosse, everything's a calculated risk. Like defenses are meant to break down. Offenses, I mean, if you got a 0-0 game, you've got either 2 really bad coaches or 2 insanely good Ds. I mean, I always tell my kids if they score a goal on this, you pat them on the back and say good job, and we reload and we're even.
Because I guess also if you're man down after he makes a save, you figure half the man down's already done, so you'll be able to get another long pull in there in 20 seconds if that thing breaks down.
Yeah, I agree. And
I'm also wondering at the lower levels where catching and throwing is a little more difficult and game concepts a little difficult, would you do this there, or would you only do it with the guys who know what they're doing, like an advanced high school level?
I'd stop. 8th grade is probably where I'd stop, and obviously, I mean, there's some very good teams in California, but the amount of very good teams in California differ. I would make sure. I mean, you got to make sure you got your best stick handlers on the field. So your 3 guys that are here, the 2 that are coming over are your best stick handlers, and the next 2 that are coming on are your next 2 best. I mean, you got to have your 5 best, and you. A lot of times people don't think about that, but your 5 best sticks should be on the field when you're killing a man down. They got to be on the field somehow when you're clearing to offense. Otherwise, you're just going to give the team the ball back, and then you're looking at playing man down for a little bit longer. The one point I wanted to make that's really important is referees are going to immediately, and now with the new mechanic, they're taught to count forward, but they're going to immediately see guys coming across and think they're offsides. So it's your job as a coach before the game and when they're certifying you, hey guys, I just want to let you know when we're man down, this is a clear we're going to run, and we're going to run 2 guys off, and while they're in the box, we're running 2 guys over. Well, we're subbing, we're allowed to, and 2 guys are going to come on out the other side. And be proactive about it, because if you're not, they're going to see guys running over, and they're immediately going to whistle or blow the flag, or throw the flag depending on, who's got the ball. So I think it's really important to create a dialogue with the officials before you start, so that you don't, all your hard work you work on this clear for 2 weeks, and the next thing you know, it's like I try and run it twice, and the officials are flagging me for being offsides both times, or whistling me, and awarding the ball back to the other team. It's important that you talk to the officials before you even.
Would you do this on 6-on-6, like a modified version?
Yeah, I actually have a drill that's kind of similar to this, but I mean, there's no reason. I mean, that the clear that I run is the clear that I run in 6-on-6. Like if we're even strength, I mean, if I was having a hard time clearing against a team, yeah, and we've played against some pretty good teams out here, and I haven't had to do it yet. I imagine if I played like Culver, which I'd never schedule them, but if I played Culver, I'd imagine that I'd probably have to do some trickery against them, or if we went down south and played like a Ponte Vedra or a St. Andrews or Lake Highland, yeah. But even then, like, Culver wiped them, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah. So just to review, 2 off, 2 over, 2 on.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And the basic.
And you can even go 2 off, 2 on, 2 over, but.
Right.
Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
And the underlying principle of this is to get the 2 skill guys crashing down towards the goalie over the midfield line as fast as you can.
2 most athletic, best stick handlers. So probably not attack, probably midfielders.
Right. So that's the general premise. Once you go man down, part of your man down team is the 2 middies going on the attack side, taking out the attackman.
Correct.
And everybody knows.
I don't know. I know for us that the midi we release from the attack side when the foul's over is probably going to be our number 1 or 2 guy at the midfield.
I agree with that.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let me just put this in front of you guys because it's something I think about a lot. With the box being, and you see me with the cursor down here, with the box being down here now, I've measured it. It's not shorter to sub from the X than it is to shove from the box now. So if you're releasing a guy to release a guy, maybe he's one of the two that, unless he's like, generally your best midfielder is probably your best defender, generally. At least in my experience, usually my best midfield defender has been my number one guy. I've had some exceptions, but like I just go back to like coaching at University of Dayton, coaching at the 3 high schools I've coached at. My best defender is usually my best midfielder.
Yeah, athlete
And
is an
usually
athlete.
he's the guy that is crashing when we were subbing through the X. But last year we found, like, we timed it, we measured it, and I think a lot of colleges still do it, but there's not really much of a difference. The only thing I could see being a difference, guys, subbing through the X versus subbing through the box, is that you have a better angle of attack, I guess, so to speak, where you could be coming in trailing the play, where if you come in from the middle, you're coming in the middle of the play. If you're coming in from here and the play's coming here, he's running behind you, at least you're coming in the middle of the action. So I mean, pretty much any defense that you put out there, you're going to throw a hole in it. Any idea you have about where you're subbing from, what clear you're running, you can throw a hole in anything because that's the nature of the game. So I don't know. I guess it's just a preference on where you. But to your point, Jimmy, yeah, your number one or your number two guy is the guy you want to crash. He's probably, quite honestly, he's probably one of these two guys that's the two over guys.
Yeah, and we have a habit of trying to be the smartest guy in the room. So what we've done in the past is take that center guy that we're releasing from the attack side. He takes 4 steps over and he just stands there. And we're hoping our goalie makes a quick save, and he shoots it upfield for a fast break. In part because we can't fast break. For 5 years now, we're just not that team. We're not that program. We're a grinded out group. So we had to find a way to take advantage of what we had, and we just decided to play man down more.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, and it's kind of funny. A lot of teams, I don't know if it's a focus thing or what, but tend to play better man down. And I think, Joe, did you put this on the or no, you know what, it was a basketball thing that I read maybe, but like, what do you think about playing 5v4 and throwing a cherry picker down there in basketball?
Yep.
Yeah, I have something similar to that where I just do a zone and then lock off the guy behind.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a few things where you just lock the guy.
Yeah.
The problem I've found with doing that over the years is that guy locking off tends to move, and he tends to walk through everybody else's zone, and everything gets a little confusing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's where that
becomes
the other thing that Boys Latin did to, I think they did it to Lake Highland Prep a couple of years ago, was they did the opposite thing. They just stuck their short stick on the end line and waited for you to shoot and miss the cage.
And played. Wow.
They played 2 men down, and they just stuck a guy in the end line.
Wow.
Because no matter where that shot's going, he's gonna get it.
More than likely, yeah. Unless it's just like a funny thing where it hits a pipe, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's gutsy.
That
goes back to those Division I coaches that are over cocky.
I think I've seen similar was the reverse. A team put a midfielder on the midfield line, and if the goalie made the save, he just hocked it right up to him. Or if a defender got a ground ball, they just threw it up to them. But that's all stuff's very gimmicky. At best, I do that like for 5 seconds in a game just to be a little cute, but I don't know if I'd rely on that as my strategy.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what? You're right. You don't rely on a strategy, and part of it is just, look how good we are man down. The other part is, we think this is going to get us an advantage at some point. And I think in 2010, we played man down on purpose at probably 20 minutes because we just, our group was just that special man down, and we just stuck a guy up top.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what to do. They started locking off the defender while they were on offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole nother topic, which is good to discuss, the tricks of utilizing a great man down team.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, this clear is good stuff.
Yeah.
You still must
Yeah,
end up
Gary,
doing the hawk of the field at some point, though, right? I mean, you're not immune to that.
No, I mean, we always say cheap it.
Yeah.
Just cheap it. Chuck it into the dead zones. I always call the dead zones just the wings, from the wings and down. Throw it there and let our more athletic guys fight for it.
Yeah.
Because we've got two middies. We got two middies out there, and the middies are going to beat the poles on a ground ball 7 times out of 10 if it's a one-on-one. Because Shorty's got an advantage to picking up a ground ball.
Right.
So, Jimmy, you were about to ask something?
How is it going to change this year with high school with the quick restart where you don't have to go outside the box? So let's say there's a loose ball push in front of the crease. Now they're going to move it lateral a couple of yards, and then you're going. So are you going to treat that as a live ball clear, or are you going to treat that as a whole other situation?
You can't treat it as a dead ball clear. You almost have to treat it as a clear off of a goalie save.
Yeah.
What you think?
Yeah.
I mean, loose ball push, pick it up, restart, and the team that's more ready to play. I mean, look, Notre Dame lived and died off of that last year. They were so good off of restarts, and when they had bad games off of restarts, they lost.
Right.
And so that's the trickle down. I mean, I'd almost urge you to, I don't know, like if your DVR is anything like mine, I don't know, stuff's getting deleted out because it's getting older, but I've got like maybe 14 hours of college games from last year.
Right.
That quick restart with not outside the box, it's just watch that and watch how they do it. Ever seen Big Trouble in Little China?
Who hasn't? Come on.
Okay, so in the beginning, like, the guy, what's the little guy's name? The magic guy with the Wang's grandpa, right? He's like talking about like that China is like a buffet and everybody just like takes the religions that they like and the thoughts that they like and make it their own. And I kind of see coaching that way. Like if you're not a tremendously good thief and tremendously good, and that thief is a bad word, but if you're not really good at stealing from other people and then incorporating it into your philosophy and adapting, then you're doing a pretty crappy job as a coach.
Right.
Well, I don't think any good coach doesn't have an original idea in his head.
He probably does, and it probably didn't work out too well, so he went back to the unoriginal idea that he borrowed from somebody.
I mean, you're essentially talking about the mission of the website with all this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% believe that. I mean, if you're not, and that's why, like I said before, I think open information, if somebody says, hey, what are you doing when you play us? I say, how much film do you need, number one, because we're not that special. We're the same as you. And number two, what do you want to know? And then after the game, if I beat a coach 17-3 or if I lost to a coach 3-17, I'm like, hey, do you guys want to grab a beer? Let's talk about the game. And about half of the coaches are like, yeah, and then half of the coaches are like, what the hell are you talking about? So I don't know.
Interesting. Well, this has been really good. Really excited. Thank you, Gary, for sharing all this.
No problem.
This is good stuff. And next topic, I guess if any of you guys have an interest, we'll see what we got going on. Maybe that man down idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So I guess for now, this is Joe from LaxPlayBook.com signing off.